I've been writing a book and I would like to invite you guys in the first chapters. So you listen to it, tell me how you feel about it. It's a story of my life about how I've been living the last year and how I have overcame anxiety, a heartbreak, and how I've been building my new identity. And I would love to hear your feedback and see how you feel about it and what you have to tell me. If you would like to read it, if you would like to hear about the rest. And yeah, it's more like a sharing. Um, I'm not sure if I can call it a book yet because it's kind of a short. There's a lot of story mass to put into it, but I kind of feel proud to be able to put my story into, you know, writing and to be able to share it at all, to see my vision, my own perspective of how I felt in the moment and what I've been living through, putting out there, you know, outside of my own head, and understanding, you know, from a third perspective, how I felt and what did it all mean to me at the time and how I feel about it now. So I would love to invite you to be part of this reading with me, and I thank you for being here and I hope you enjoy it. Let me know how you feel and give me your feedback, okay? I'm gonna do this because I want to tell my story, but I want my story to be intriguing for you so that you can relate. I want this book to be something that women out there that haven't lived a proper relationship, not because of lack of love, but because of lack of emotional structure, because of lack of self-identity, because of them not knowing who they are and that they missed out or that they have hurt themselves or frustrated themselves a lot during the years because they didn't know better. I want them to relate themselves to my story and understand that they are not alone and there's a lot of changes that you can make and that your life can completely turn around and that everything can go super good for you. So if you're a woman that is high achieving, that had problems in your relationship and now you want to build something different and strong and structured and that will not cause you frustrations and hurt and pain, but happiness, fulfillment, and, you know, addition to your life and something that you can cheer on about, stay. I invite you to read my book and to listen to what I have to say, because here in my channel I actually support you to finding the best version of yourself and how to get out of the shell that you have been so scared of getting out because it's all you know. I want you to be happy, I want you to be healthy, I want you to build an amazing relationship, I want you to make lots of money, and I want you to find your full potential so you can just be yourself and be happy and shine from within outwards, because you are just being, you know. This is my purpose. I really want to just be and share my story so other women can be too, and they can find themselves like I did find me. And it wasn't without any pain, but if I had, you know, heard all of this, if I had this reference before, if I understood where I was making my mistakes much earlier, I'm pretty sure I would have been able to build better relationships. And I wish with my story I can reach out women, young women that don't have to go through, you know, 35 plus years of their lives to really understand who they are, and they can do this much earlier in life so they can build healthier relationships from the beginning. So stay with me. I hope you really like what I have shared with you. Yeah, thank you so much again for watching, and let me know what you think. And if you have something that you would like me to share a light on, if you have your story to share, if you would like me to say something, or, you know, bring my perspective, or if you have a problem that you can't really fix in a relationship or in your behavior, just let me know what it is and we could talk about together so you can actually find the light in it. I'm gonna start the reading now. I hope you stay with me until the end. Remember, you can always put the 2 times forward to make it quick and faster, so the reading is not too boring for you. Sorry, I've been adjusting here the camera because I want to have like a nice background for us as well as we film, as we read. And yeah, hope you enjoy it. My last year, the healing process of a rock bottom, an identity shift that started from a breakup but didn't quite end there. I want you all to know that this book is almost like a love letter. It's a declaration of finally being able to turn the page of the most pure form of love I could have ever felt for someone, even when loving through my wounds and making so many bad decisions and mistakes. I couldn't do anything different. I didn't know how to. Today, I'm finally at peace with myself because I faced so much change. I am finally at ease to put the story to rest. I don't think I have ever loved anyone in my life before like I have in this period. I really wish from the bottom of my heart that we have lived completely different timelines together, because in that one, I know in my bones that we would have built an empire and made history together. But because we weren't, today I'm able to say what's enough. I decided to do everything I had to, even though it hurts, to become my best version, because I deserved a better version of myself and of someone that has that to give. That person would have never have my words again, because I would never shrink to fit anymore. I will never force someone into choosing me again, but allowing life to naturally do its work and bring this person willfully to me. Thank you. You were one of the most important puzzles in my story of how I finally broke free to be the identity I really came to be. I wish you the most happiness in your life, because I have once accessed what's in your heart and I know exactly what's inside. Never let anyone tell you that you can't, and I will be always watching you grow from afar. Very proud that I have ever once had the privilege of sharing life with you. My love for you goes beyond not understanding where you belong in my life and trying to prove how much we once were. Chapter 1. Being in it. I thought that was the end of the line, but I barely knew that a new journey was about to start, not to end. Every ending brings a new beginning, without exception, but we often miss that part because we're too busy focusing on the circumstances that we are living in that moment and in the end itself. So we spiral, delaying the new chapter to start gaining focus. Don't get me wrong. Normally, the new beginning starts with the death of the old, of what it was, of what we had, but we confuse that too with an end, so we soak. But that in fact is the beginning. We are just suffering too much to see the timeline clearly. The place looked like a dream. A duplex in Meja's Gulf, flooded with natural light, 2 balconies, one in the living room and the other one in the main bedroom, both opening to a golf court that caught the sunset just right, every evening. The sunsets were breathtaking, the kind people travel across continents to photograph. Quiet, clean, expansive. 80% of it was paid for by my company at the time. On paper, my life was very stable, curated, successful. From the outside, it all made sense. From the inside, it was already cracking. I lived there with my partner then, and the 3 cats we had adopted together during the first month of our relationship. We lived almost in isolation, just us, no family, few friends, a small contained universe that felt safe precisely because it was closed. Taha and I had been together for almost 4 years by then. We spent 1.5 years together in Spain, then moved to Casablanca, Morocco, where we lived together for a full year. My company had operations there, and I was in charge. Returned to Spain after that year. while I split my time between Morocco and Spain for another 6 months. Navigating work, distance, and exhaustion, airports, logistics, fights, tension, everything felt heavier. I had moved to Malaga only months before we met, leaving behind a past that was somewhat dark, one we discussed openly. We felt like home with each other. I had been on the road for years with my dark past too. Countries, careers, identity, different kind of jobs, people. Already skilled at rebuilding myself without asking for help. We met at work, the job I had before the one in the mansion. I was his trainer there. We escalated quickly, too quickly maybe, but at the time it felt like alignment. But I didn't understand then was that alignment can exist without sustainability. By November 2024, we were already very exhausted, not from lack of love, but from friction, trauma, different emotional tools, age difference. We tried, genuinely tried. But trying without structure eventually becomes self-erosion. The fight that broke us wasn't dramatic, it was almost ridiculous. We found a red card on the ground while going for a walk around the golf court. We were having a joke, a souvenir. He brought it home and placed it on the bed. I saw dirt, contamination, disrespect. I reacted too quickly and too sharply. We stopped speaking. About a month earlier, we had made a quiet agreement that if we ever had reached that point again, silence, shut down, contempt over nothing, we would admit we were at the end of our line. The next morning, nothing really was resolved, no repair came, and for the first time, I didn't argue to stay. I said the sentence we both have been avoiding. A month later, on November 16, 2024, he left for Asia. There was no explosion, no betrayal, no villain, just absence. The house remained exactly the same. The light still poured in, the sunset still arrived on schedule, the cats were still playful around. Everything we had built was still there, except him. I thought that was the end. I didn't know yet that endings rarely feel like endings. They feel like pauses, like confusion, like beautiful places that no longer feel inhabitable. I was still inside it, and I wouldn't understand what had truly begun until everything else fell apart. I hope you guys are enjoying, and if you are, give a like, subscribe to the channel, and stay here with me for chapter 2. Facing my demons. The apartment was too quiet. The cats prowled, the sun poured in, but the emptiness felt louder than any argument. I could hear the absence in every corner. Almost 4 years together. 2 years living in Spain, a year in Morocco, then back to Spain, and suddenly life was smaller, sharper, colder. I had believed I could carry everything. Love, work, ambition, identity. But carrying everything is different from sustaining it. The cracks I had ignored over the years now yawned wide. Shadows I had walked past became walls. Then Simba went missing. For 5 days, the cat that had been closest to disappeared. I searched endlessly. Walked the neighborhood, posted notices, called shelters, waited by the window. Each hour stretched longer than the last. Each night, I fell into a sadness so sharp, it made me feel hollow. It was as if part of the life we had built together had walked away again, and this time I couldn't control it. During those 5 days, I wanted to call constantly, to text, to ask, to cry into the phone. Sometimes I did, but many times I didn't. I held back because he was gone, because I had promised myself I wouldn't try to rebuild what had ended. But the temptation was electric. and that loneliness was raw. Morocco, Spain, the duplex, the cats, all the places I thought were safe had become mirrors of his absence. I faced the demons of my own making, the compulsion to control outcomes I could not control, the perfectionism that exhausted me daily, the fear of failing alone, the quiet voice that whispered I would never be enough, even when everybody else had no complaints. The apartment felt both too big and too small. I walked through it like a stranger. My reflection caught it in every window. I saw her, tall, composed, professional, capable. But I also saw someone who had been running from herself for years, substituting constant doing for deep feeling, treating silence like an enemy instead of a mirror. I began to speak aloud what I had never said. I'm exhausted, I am alone, and I do not know who I am without this structure. Weakness was a teacher now. There were moments of rage, moments of despair, moments where I wanted to reach out to seek solace, guidance, or care, but each time I caught myself, he was gone. Not wrong, not evil, just gone. The demons I needed to face weren't him. They were the versions of myself I had refused to confront. Simba returned after those 5 days. Relief washed over me, but it was fleeting. The cat's return didn't fix the emptiness. It only reminded me how fragile everything was, how quickly what I depended on could vanish. This chapter of my life, these weeks between his departure and the first days of December, was a brutal classroom. The lessons were simple. You cannot heal without seeing yourself fully. You cannot forgive without understanding. You cannot rebuild without first collapsing. And collapse I would, slowly, in fragments, in silence, in the spaces between sunrises and sunsets. Because facing demons is not about victory, it's about presence. It is about recognition. It is about surviving yourself long enough to begin again. If you're still with me, if you're liking this reading, please, if you didn't hit the like button yet, do it now. Subscribe the channel and stay with me now for chapter 3. Chapter 3, Cracks in the Ground. Let me rewind a little to reel you in. By the end of that summer, the ground had already started shaking. I just didn't call it that yet. From the outside, life still looked impressive. I was moving between countries, holding a senior role, living in beautiful places, building things most people only talked about building. From the inside, I was exhausted in a way rest could no longer fix. And I were already living between worlds. Morocco and Spain, Casablanca and Malaga, airports, suitcases, time zones, long silences followed by explosive conversations. He stayed back in Spain with the cat while I lived in both places, carrying work, responsibility, pressure. 6 months of being nowhere fully while pretending I was everywhere competently. I was heavy, tense, overworked, and I didn't know how to say the sentence that mattered most. I can't do this alone anymore. Instead, I kept doing exactly that. By August 2024, we were already exhausted. Around that time, we bought an apartment together in Malaga city center, the very same one we had lived in during the first year of our relationship, the very same one where we had adopted the cats. A full circle moment on paper. When we got the keys, it should have felt like expansion, celebration, proof. Instead, they felt heavier than they should. His mother was visiting us in Spain with his siblings, staying at our duplexes in Mijas Gulf. That visit alone carried weight, different cultures, expectations, unspoken tensions, but the real collapse happened quietly between us. We went in our new apartment together when we got the keys, while the family stayed back in Mijas at the duplex. Our regular fights continued. I wanted things done in certain ways, and his help was never enough. Not because it wasn't there, but because I was already empty. I was so frustrated with my life that everything I touched reflected it. I couldn't keep up with his presence. I wanted to be taken care of, seen, loved, embraced, but instead I was still building, fighting, working, holding everything together. Whatever he did for me couldn't be enough because I was so tired. I didn't want more effort. I wanted rest. I wanted him to take me in. I needed him to be the safe space I was constantly building for myself, or for many times, us. I wanted to rest in his arms, while he reassured me I could trust him, that everything would be okay, that I could stop and rest, that I could just be now. But instead, I stayed in motion, in control, in survival, in my complete masculine energy. I kept pretending that sustaining everything was fine when it wasn't. And because I wouldn't admit that, I would collapse over nothing. Crumbs on the counter became evidence. A corner not cleaned became disrespect. A small detail left undone became a fight. He cooked, he cleaned, he tried, and I only saw whatever was remained unfinished. He was studying, learning, trying forex trading, but there was no concrete results yet. He tried with the dogs, he did other things, but still, because the real financial stability always came from me, I snapped about everything else. Money wasn't the argument, security was. Even the cats became battlegrounds. We loved them deeply, but we raised them differently, and every difference felt like another proof that we were misaligned. I don't think he could ever understand what he was doing wrong. Hell, I couldn't. What I couldn't see then was the simplest, hardest truth. I was doing the man's job in the relationship, and it was killing me. Not because he demanded it, but because it was my pattern, my story, repeating itself again and again, the same way my past relationships had failed. I didn't know how to be taken care of. I didn't trust anyone enough to let them, not even him. I wish I could tell him all of these things, but I don't think I could sustain it in that time, with that identity. Being taken care of, I mean. I had many deep demons I had never faced. I didn't really trust anyone, not even him, and I was constantly sad because of that. I lived in a fight inside of me, trying to protect him from the world while everybody was against everything he was, when I didn't even trust him myself. Isn't that so sad? I didn't know any of this at the time. I do now. He made me not want to repeat this again. Okay. This book comes as a declaration that this was the last time I didn't know myself, or what I wanted, or what truly hurt me, or even what I was doing in general with my life, in my relationships, with the polarity I lived in. And while all of this was unfolding at home, work was cracking too. Leadership was changing. The company was bleeding. I had already taken mental health leave more than once. The pressure wasn't just professional, it was existential. I had built something based on trust, verbal agreements, shared vision, and slowly that trust also eroded. The COO of the company, my direct boss, we got along for a long time, and he really trusted me. We bonded. But in the same extreme, this polarity happened, the polar opposite too, when everything began going to shit. We were not doing so well financially, and we had constant personal issues where we disagreed a lot on the leadership ideas of what should be done with the little resources we had. I say personal because that's how we took it. He saw potential in me. He gave me many opportunities when I created them for myself. He was a very controversial guy, but inside, he was a great guy with an amazing heart. And I'm forever grateful for the opportunities he saw me fit to fill. Our separation was very sad to me. I also grieved that for a long time. It took me almost the same time to get over this place I worked as it took me to get over. And most of it, I believe, was because of my relationship with not the job itself yet. I may have put him in a position in my life where he became someone I chose to look up to because he used to see potential in me, that I let that become a personal impact in my life. Having parted ways with that person the way I did was way more painful than I have ever admitted it was. Because I trusted him a lot, I thought we were and could become an even better team. I guess again, timing just wasn't right. The rupture with didn't come as a single explosion. It came as a realization. Promises weren't solid ground. That dynamic mirrored my relationship more than I wanted to admit at the time. Overgiving, overbuilding, standing strong until no one noticed I was collapsing. By the time November arrived, we were already living on fractures. When I left on November 16th, it didn't feel dramatic. It felt surgical, clean, necessary. A decision made out of love, not failure. We had agreed that continuing would only destroy what was left of us. There was no villain, no betrayal, just absence. Shortly after he left, I called Erica. She had lived with me before him, back when my life was a sequence of situationships and emotional turbulence. She had left when her mother suffered a stroke, returning to Brazil to take care of her. That happened at the same time I just moved in with me. The entire duration of my relationship with her matched the time she was gone. And now, as that chapter ended, she returned. I invited her in November. She could only come mid-December, and she accepted. The symmetry didn't hit me then, it does now. When Erica arrived, she didn't meet a woman in pieces. She met strength, composure, rationality. I spoke about the breakup with clarity, maturity, no tears, no collapse. She was constantly reassuring me on how different I seemed, how grounded, how evolved from everything she had experienced me do and be in the past. That had weight. Her opinion impacted me and gave me the confidence I needed to keep pretending I was okay. And I believed her because I needed to. What I didn't know yet was that I wasn't healed. I was suppressing. I hadn't mourned. I hadn't fallen apart. I had simply rearranged myself around the loss and kept standing. The ground had cracked. I just hadn't fallen through it yet. Christmas time comes, my favorite time of the year. First one without him in years. He had helped me set up the Christmas tree before he left as our last project together. He didn't care about Christmas, never did. He did it for me, because it was important to me. In fact, he was Muslim. I had the pleasure to understand more about it more closely, thanks to this as well. Me, Eric, and Kayla, my friends, are back home. It's Christmas night. We barbecue, dance, sing, and I pretend very well how all I couldn't stop thinking about was how much I missed him with me that day and how I would have given everything to have exchanged that moment so that could happen. I hope you have hit the like button. I hope you have subscribed to the channel. I hope you have liked the chapters until this moment. And if you didn't, or if it's a bit confusing, or like if you can't really follow the timeline, or if there's something more that you think that is missing, or any feedback at all, if everything has been great, if you really liked what you have heard so far, please leave me your feedback. And I really want to know how you feel about it because I'm so excited. There are many more chapters that are already written, but there's a lot more to go still. So if you do want to hear more, let me know. Toodles!